1:15. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Catherine Pereira, read by Sound Ithavam. Proposals on the proclamation of the emergency regulations submitted to Parliament. The regulations are being submitted to Parliament to safeguard the consumer and the food. The opposition has pointed out that the government has incurred a loss of a large sum of money due to the reducing of tax on sugar. The prices of vegetables at economic centres have declined. The President and the Prime Minister convey their deepest condolence on the demise of veteran singer and the leader of the Gypsies, Sunil Perera. In world news, Taiwan says 19 Chinese warplanes entered its air defence zone. The Leader of the House, Minister Dinesh Gunawardena, has submitted the proposals on the proclamation of the emergency regulations to Parliament today. He said this proposal will be submitted in order to protect the concealing of food stocks. The Minister has also submitted some amendments on the Consumer Affairs Authority, considering essential affairs. At the debate of the emergency regulations, Minister Mahindananda Alutgamage said that the objective of presenting this proposal is to safeguard food and the consumer. There is no food shortage in the country. Parliamentarian Ranjit Madhubandara said that although the tax on sugar has been reduced, the benefit of it will not be received by the consumers. The government has incurred a large sum of loss due to the decrease of tax on sugar. He also questioned how the army officials can fulfill the service rendered by the civil servants. Traders say that the prices of vegetables have declined considerably due to vegetable stocks being received at the Dambulla Economic Centre at dawn today. A large number of traders have arrived at the centres to purchase large stocks of vegetables. When comparing the prices of vegetables yesterday, the prices have declined by 40% today. A large stock of grapes and bananas have also been received at the economic centres. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Veteran singer, musician and leader of the popular band Gypsies, Sunil Perera, has passed away at the age of 68. He had reportedly passed away while receiving treatment at a private hospital in Colombo. Sunil Perera had tested positive for COVID-19 last month and was only recently discharged after recovering. However, it was reported yesterday that he had been readmitted to hospital due to a sudden illness. Sunil Perera and his brother Pial have been part of the Gypsies, one of the biggest and most famous musical bands in the country for the past 3 decades, with multiple hit albums and sold-out concerts here and abroad. The relatives of the late Sunil Perera said that the final rites will be notified later. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa have expressed their condolence on the passing away of the Gypsies leader, veteran singer Sunil Perera. The President has stated that it is a great loss to Sri Lanka's entertainment scene as he was a veteran musician. The Prime Minister has also conveyed his deepest sympathy to the family and friends of the legendary entertainer. The politicians, opposition, cricketers and artists have also expressed their deepest sorrow and sympathy on his demise. Singer Kirti Pascal said that the irreparable service rendered by him to the music field cannot be forgotten. Several musicians stated that he was popular among many fans and the youth. The vaccination program for the age group between 20 to 29 is being conducted in 4 districts from this morning. Large queues are witnessed at the vaccination centres this morning. This program will be conducted in 4 districts of Colombo, Gampaha, Kalutara and Galle, and that concludes local news.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddha Lepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddha Lepa, the Vidya Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddha Lepa Vidya Mahatmya.
The Colombo District Secretary Pradeep Yasaratna said that several programs are underway to provide essential food items to the people. The essential food items will be distributed to the doorstep of the people when calling or through WhatsApp orders for their essential food items, and came to you in the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddha Lepa Vidya Mahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhaleba.
And now in Watch Light.
The farmers in Kotiagala say that there is a threat to the Karandandaru reservoir due to an illegal cattle yard. Many acres of paddy fields in the area have been cultivated in the Yala and Maha season in Kotiagala, which belongs to the Siambalandua Divisional Secretariat Division. More than 2,000 cattle are being tendered there, and the waste is flowing into the reservoir on rainy days, and came to you in Watchlight.
World News.
Making headlines, Taiwan says 19 Chinese warplanes entered its air defense zone. Afghanistan resistance leader says open to peace talks with Taliban. And the US State and Defense Secretary set off for Qatar. Taiwan has said a large incursion of Chinese military jets flew into its air defense zone yesterday. The defense minister said 19 aircraft, including fighters and nuclear-capable bombers, entered its so-called air defense identification zone. Taipei has been complaining for more than a year about repeated missions by China's Air Force near the island. China sees Democratic Taiwan as a breakaway province, but Taiwan sees itself as a sovereign state. Taiwan's defense ministry said yesterday's mission by the Chinese Air Force involved 4 H-6 bombers which can carry nuclear weapons as well as an anti-submarine aircraft. The leader of the Afghan resistance group waging an intense battle against the Taliban in the Panjshir Valley has said he is open to enter peace talks. Ahmad Massoud said he supported a plan put forward by religious clerics for a negotiated settlement and called on the Taliban to end their offensive. Earlier reports suggested the Taliban had rapidly gained ground in Panjshir. The province north of the capital Kabul is the most prominent example of resistance to Taliban rule. The US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin have left for Qatar in an apparent bid to boost diplomatic and security ties with the country, which has built relations with the Taliban in Afghanistan. Blinken departed from an Air Force base near Washington yesterday. Austin has also set off on a tour of Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait and Saudi Arabia. Qatar hosts the Taliban's political office, which serves as an international license facility for the group. Britain and Germany have also sent their top diplomats to Qatar to discuss the situation in Afghanistan and humanitarian support. To conclude this bulletin of world news, the headlines once again. Taiwan says 19 Chinese warplanes entered its air defense zone. Afghanistan resistance leader says open to peace talks with the Taliban. And the US State and Defense Secretaries set off for Qatar. That concludes this bulletin of world news.
Development News is brought to you by
Quality matters than price. So as an engineer, I recommend Melva RB500. It's made with virgin billets using the latest technology. Melva RB500, number 1 in Sri Lanka. Truly Sri Lankan.
As the government officially adopted the policy to meet 70% of the country's electricity generation from renewable energy sources by 2030, the cabinet nod has been given to call for proposals of expression of interest for solar and wind power projects from interested local and foreign investors. Power Minister Gamini Lokuge on Monday sought cabinet approval to call expression of interest from local and foreign investors who are interested in financing such projects, prioritizing identified projects over 50 megawatts. That came to you in Development News.
Development News was brought to you by
Quality matters than price. So as an engineer, I recommend Melva RB500. It's made with virgin billets using the latest technology. Melva RB500, number 1 in Sri Lanka. Truly Sri Lankan.
Moving on to sports news, England made a promising start to their pursuit of a record 368 to leave the 4th test against India primed for a thrilling conclusion at the Kia Oval. Faced with what would be England's highest successful chase in Test cricket, Hasib Hamid and Rory Burns took the home side to 77 for no loss at the close on day 4. When England took 3 wickets for 16 runs in the morning session, including India's captain Virat Kohli for 44, Joe Root's side had the opportunity to minimise their target. That's sports news. We look at business news next.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Savings account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business news. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
Hydramani Group Director Arun Hydramani noted that the $10 billion goal for the Sri Lankan apparel exports by 2025 was unfeasible, but that the sector could aim to achieve $8 billion by 2025. He noted the difficulty in reaching that figure and noted that the pandemic had caused serious damage to the industry. Hydramani highlighted that with the additional value addition through ventures such as the fabric park in Eravur, the country was well placed to grow. That's business news. Economic news up next.
Business news. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Savings account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Moving on to economic news, the massive solar power network of 805 kilowatts established by the Mahendra Idela Lanka company was added to the national power grid yesterday. This is the first time a business venture related to the motor vehicle industry added a massive solar power network to the national grid. The Mahendra Institute is also expected to assemble trucks in the country in the future and came to you in economic news.
Weather report.
The Met Department says showers or thundershowers will occur at times in the Sabragamu and central provinces. Several spells of showers will occur in the western and northwestern provinces and in the Gaul and Marchara districts. Showers or thundershowers may occur at a few places in the Uva province and in the Batiklo and Ampara districts, particularly in the evening or night. Mainly fair weather will prevail elsewhere. To conclude this bulletin of news, a recap of the headlines. Proposals on the proclamation of the emergency regulations submitted to Parliament. The regulations are being submitted to Parliament to safeguard the consumer and food. The opposition has pointed out that the government has incurred a loss of a large sum of money due to the reducing of tax on sugar. The prices of vegetables at economic centres have declined. The President and the Prime Minister conveyed their deepest condolence on the demise of veteran singer and the leader of the Gypsies, Sunil Pereira. And Taiwan says 19 Chinese warplanes entered its air defense zone.